How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, I'm bringing you something that you guys have been wanting for a long time now and been asking me for, and that is my review of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Now, I played through all of Let's Go Eevee, and I've yet to play Let's Go Pikachu. I will play through that at a later time as well, just do not have the time at the moment. But I played through the games, and I want to bring you my full review on these games. Now, originally, I was going to make this video very long and intricate with every possible little nook and cranny to kind of describe these games to you, but I thought maybe I should do a bit more of a relaxed approach. Now, we'll begin from the start. Are these games good? Yes, they are. Now, what I mean by that is, are they great games? No, far from it. Are they horrible games? No, they are not. Are they bad games? Not really, no. They're just fine, good games that can be wholesomely enjoyed, and they're not horrible. They're essentially exactly what I expected them to be. Good games with a lot of fun, but lacking in depth. And that's what you notice with this game instantly. There are a lot of issues, but there are also a lot of positives. Now, I'll tell you this from the start right here. If you're somebody watching this video to figure out if you should buy this game or not, I'll tell you right now. If you are fine with just playing Kanto all over again, then this game is for you. If you enjoy Kanto, and you just want to catch the 151 Pokemon, then this will probably apply to you. A lot of more casual people, a lot of more casual fans will definitely like this game, as it doesn't really, go astray from just the original Gen 1 stuff. So you'll definitely get here what you want the most from Kanto. It's a full-fledged Kanto region with all the 151 Pokemon, plus the Alolan forms, and all that jiv-jav, but there's no other Pokemon. If you're looking for Gen 2 Pokemon, Gen 3 Pokemon, Gen 4 Pokemon, this is not the game for you. I will tell you right now, if you're asking me if you should buy it, if you are a person who does not only want Kanto, then I'll tell you right now, do not buy this game if you're looking to catch other Pokemon, because this game does not offer it. So it is not worth a buy if you want to catch Hoenn Pokemon, Johto Pokemon, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola. None of those Pokemon are available in this game. There are, of course, Kanto Pokemon, and that's it. And, of course, the Alola forms of just the Kanto Pokemon, but that's really the extent of it. All of this game is Kanto, and then, of course, Meltan, which you can't even catch in the game, but rather in Pokemon Go by trading between the two games. So that's really all you have in that sense. So I'll tell you right now, if you're looking for that other experience with more Pokemon, this is not the game for you. Just wait until 2019 and then you'll get a better game. Now, let's talk about the game itself and what it has to offer. Now, let's start with the story. Now, the story is nothing really major. Now, what I mean by this is, if you've played Yellow, then you've played this game. If you've played any of the previous, Kanto games, you pretty much play this one as well. There are minor changes, but they're very minuscule and don't really change anything throughout your gameplay. Now, what I mean by this is that the story is essentially the same. You start in Pallet Town, you make your way to Pewter, you make your way to Cerulean and all this stuff, and it's essentially exactly the same as Pokemon Yellow. So if you've ever played that, this is pretty much the same. There are a few instances where they've changed a few things, added a few character, and that sort of stuff. Since these games aren't retelling the exact story, but are rather inspired by Pokemon Yellow, you are not playing as Red or Blue or any of that sort of stuff. Instead, those characters appear in the game itself, right? They're other characters, they're other trainers from, the past, and they do appear in the game. So you don't act as any of those characters anymore. This is kind of a little bit of like a reimagining, future version of Kanto, but not really, kind of. It's a little bit of quotation mark on that one. So just so you know, the story is essentially the same. There isn't many changes. And if you're looking for a brand new story, this game probably will not offer that. It's just minuscule changes. But what is really fun, though, is the way they've changed around some of the gyms and made them really work well with the original style that they were made in. So, for example, Sabrina's gym still has the teleporters, which are really cool, and the overall aesthetic of the gym is really nice. So I do like that part. But yeah, if you're looking for a new story, this game will not offer that. But if you have never played Kanto, then this story will definitely be interesting for you, or maybe will not. I mean, depends on how you look at it, right? If you have never played Kanto, this could be fun for you. If you've played Kanto, then it will be just probably nice to revisit it. But if you don't care about Kanto, then again, you won't get what you're seeking right here. So, when it comes to the features in this game, which we're going to take a look at right now, you have, of course, the catching mechanic, which is, I think, the most important one to talk about, and, that sort of stuff. But there is one more that I want to talk about, which really disappointed me, and that is customization. Now, since Sun and Moon now, or even, I guess, X and Y, we've had a level of customization in our Pokemon games, right? We've been able to change this or that, right? And with these games, I really expected them to do some level of, better work when it comes to the customization, adding the ability to maybe change the face shapes or change, our skin color to several different tones and our hairstyles and whatnot. Unfortunately, this game does not offer that. When you start up the game, you're only given 4 options for customizations, which really is not a lot. That's a really small, pool of customization to be given. It's really minuscule, and I really feel like they should do better in Generation 8 and add more options for customization, because I had a lot of viewers who kept asking me during my stream, hey, can you change your hairstyle, can you change this, can you change that, and I kept telling them, unfortunately you can't. There is though outfits which are limited to about 15 or so. Might be getting the number wrong, but there are a few outfits. You can dress up as a Team Rocket grunt, which is really cool, which I'm doing, looks really nice, but other than that, the customization is very limited for this game, and I really feel a little bit disappointed there, because I feel like they could have done a lot of awesome work here and made way more outfits for you to collect, because that would have been at least given you something extra to do in the game by going and collecting all these different outfits. You can still collect a few outfits, but it's far and few in between to make it feel like it's really an extensive sort of library of customization. But at least you can also equip items on, your Pokemon starter, which is going to be either Pikachu for Let's Go Pikachu and, Eevee for Let's Go Eevee. So at least you have that, but other than that though, I really just wish there was more variety in the customization. The outfits that do exist are nice, but it would be nicer to, have more options. Now, what's the next feature? And of course we do have Pokemon in the Overworld, which are freaking awesome. Now I do like this. Sometimes it can be a little bit annoying where, you encounter a Pokemon that, kind of blocks your path or, whatever. But honestly, I like this. The Pokemon being in the Overworld is really nice, and I do like this sort of feature. And I do wonder if they're going to keep this in the future, because I think it works for Pokemon. It really does. But I do hope that if they do this again in, a future Pokemon game, that they at least make sure that we have, kind of a balanced out, mixture of Pokemon in the Overworld. That's what I really hope for. But honestly, the Overworld feature is amazing, and it's just, I kind of included together with the catching feature because it's very similar to the Pokemon Go stuff, where, you can see Pokemon in the Overworld in Pokemon Go. It's very similar to that, so I kind of included with the catching feature. It is amazing, but it has a lot of things that kind of bring it down a little bit here and there. But overall, though, it's fantastic. Like, honestly, believe me when I say it, it's a fantastic feature. I love having Pokemon in the Overworld and seeing them run around and stuff, though sometimes they look really weird. Either way. So the next one that we're going to take a look at, of course, is the catching. Now we talked about the customization, let's talk about the catching mechanic in this game. Now, as you know, wild battles have been removed, and catching mechanic is the only way to do it now. Basically, it's like in Pokemon Go. You throw your Pokeballs, and that's the only way to catch Pokemon, and you don't actually have to battle wild Pokemon to catch them. Now, I've got to say, this is a double-edged sword. I've got to be honest, it's kind of fun when you're catching Pokemon with this mechanic, but at the same time, it's a very broken mechanic. And this can also be, you can see this from people like Joe Merrick. I'll reference him right now. Joe Merrick, aka the person who runs Cerebi.net, one of the biggest Pokemon news websites and most trusted net websites when it comes to Pokemon news on the internet. He even can agree with me on this regard. This game is very inconsistent in the catching mechanic. Now, what I mean by inconsistent is, and this can depend on who is playing, right? But it's really inconsistent when you're using a Joy-Con, because sometimes when you're throwing your Pokeball to the left, it goes to the right. Sometimes when you're throwing to the middle, it goes to the, left. Sometimes when you throw to the right, it goes to the left. It's just very inconsistent. I feel like when I was playing, it was about a 70-30%, where 70% it didn't work, and 30% time it worked. It was really inconsistent. But after a while, it got to 50-50. So it was 50% of the time it worked, 50% of the time it just did not work. It was really inconsistent across the board, though, and it really didn't feel nice. And now I'm just talking about the the throwing itself, right? But I haven't even included the other part of the inconsistency, and that is the actual RNG in this game. Now, of course, Pokemon has always had RNG, right? When you're searching in bushes for wild Pokemon, there's a level of RNG to that. It's always RNG. But when it comes to this catching, the RNG is really broken. Like, genuinely broken. And again, I think Joe Merrick can agree with this one, because he's been having the same issue, where sometimes you throw on a green circle, right? The Pokemon, when it's a green circle, that means that it's easier to catch. You throw an Ultra Ball on a green circle, and you get Excellent, and the Pokemon gets out of the Pokeball, right? Or the Ultra Ball. Then you do this thing a few more times, and it keeps breaking out. And you start getting confused, then you throw a normal Pokeball with a orange circle, and you don't even get an excellent throw or a great throw or a nice throw. You just get an average throw or a bad throw, and you catch the Pokemon. So, at that point, the game doesn't reward you for good throws or for skilled throws, but rather just is full-on RNG in that regard. Now, of course, excellent throws and whatnot, I'm not sure if they, I mean, I guess they somewhat increase your chances for the catch, but in all honesty, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like it actually rewards you, but it sort of punishes me every time I try to do it. Every time I do an excellent throw, I feel like I get punished rather than rewarded by doing it. Now, of course, when you do the excellent throws, you do get more increased XP and whatnot and all that, but overall, you get the draft, or you get the point, rather. Now, what else about the catch mechanic is, interesting? Well, we've talked about the inconsistencies, but let's talk about the good aspects of it. It's kind of fun, right? It's fun to just throw Pokeballs, but I've got to be honest, I really did start missing wild battles, and every time I saw a Pokemon, I was like, okay, let's time to battle, what's my move, right? And I was about to, I was pressing my buttons to get ready to use a move, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh wait, no, I gotta just throw the Pokeballs. So it does get a little bit, you kind of miss that feeling of, actually battling the Pokemon. So if I'm gonna be honest, I think this system works well. It can be really satisfying to throw the Pokeballs and catch the Pokemon you want, but I think like they should really balance the two out, so you have the option of battling the Pokemon in front of you, and also catching it with this mechanic. I think this could be a great way to make a Pokemon game work, where you mix the two and make a perfect, synchronized, kind of perfect ball of perfectness, so to say. I know that sounds probably really weird, but if they can mix these two together, this game could work phenomenally, because in all honesty, I think that would be the best way to do it. Not even just this game, but future Pokemon games. If you take this mechanic of catching, plus normal original Pokemon wild battles, and mix those two together, that could work really well. But of course, I would really want them to fix all the inconsistencies when it comes to throwing, which are really infuriating. Like, I've got to be honest, after I'm done shiny hunting in this game, which I shiny hunt in every Pokemon game that comes out, so once I'm done with shiny hunting every Pokemon in this game, I don't think I'll revisit this game anytime in the future, because I'm going to be honest, it just is so inconsistent, and it's really infuriating when you're throwing a Pokeball straight forward and it goes all the way to the edge of the screen on the right side, and you don't understand what's going on and you get confused. Now, people have said that it works better with the Pokeball Plus, but in all honesty, it should first of all work well with the general game itself and the general console. I shouldn't have to buy an accessory to make the game work. That should not be a thing. I should be able to play my game without having to buy an extra accessory or add-on for the base game to work. So I really hope that maybe this is just something related to the Switch itself, because I did hear that the yellow Joy-Con, or sorry, the red Joy-Con is a bit defect, the sensor is a bit defect, but I tried the blue Joy-Con as well, and even that didn't work well. It just worked a little good at the start, but then it just got totally wanky, and it kept running, left and right, and just didn't work properly either. So I just say that there's an inconsistency in the throwing. The catching mechanic is fun, it really is fun, but it's inconsistent, and sometimes I really miss just wild battling Pokemon to take them down and then catch them with my Pokeballs. I feel like that could give you more of a sense of progression that way, because in this game, I feel like, for the most part, you can ignore a lot of Pokemon and just continue forward and ignore a lot of things, which is really sad. But of course, if you're shiny hunting, you will be doing a lot of, catching and stuff. And of course, catching is also the best way to level up. And there is a little bit of a broken thing when it comes to money in this game, and, requiring Pokeballs can be really hard sometimes. But, at least that adds a little bit more difficulty to it, but it feels a little bit artificial. Now, that's that. We talked about the catching mechanic. Now, what else do we have in this game? Well, we have the ability to ride Pokemon. Now, we've already kind of, in previous videos that I've done, talked about the secret techniques and stuff, and I've said that I like them. Basically, secret techniques replace HMs and, that sort of stuff, and you're able to basically use Cut and Fly and all that stuff just by using Eevee, which is awesome. But that's not all, though. You also have other things in this game, which are rideable Pokemon. Now, you also have the ability to have Pokemon following you, but certain Pokemon can also allow you to ride them, either on water, like Gyarados and Lapras, or you can fly them, like Charizard, Dragonite, and Aerodactyl. And also, other Pokemon can be you can ride them on, what do I say right now, on land, like Snorlax can be ridden, which is really weird, Arcanine, Persian, etc. And these are really awesome. This is my favorite feature from this game, because it's so awesome feeling when you get onto a Charizard's back and you're just flying through all of the region. It feels fantastic. This is my favorite feature from this game. It is awesome, and I freaking love it. I really think it's great, and I remember that I said I thought it was great even when I first saw this game. I said, this looks amazing. Like, genuinely, this is the most awesome thing ever, dude. I can't wait to ride on a freaking, Arcanine through the forest. It's gonna be great. So that's a great feature in my opinion. Now, what other features does this game offer? Well, we have some other stuff. So, another feature that I would talk about would probably be the ability to nickname Pokemon whenever you want. You can change the nicknames, which is great. It really allows a lot of flexibility to name a Pokemon and not mess up the, if you mess up the name, you can instantly rename it without any problems. That is a great feature. I like it. It's really useful. That's like one of those features that I really appreciate. There's also the fast boxing, or what I mean by this is like you can get into your PC, or there is no PC, but you have like boxes and you can enter them pretty easily. Now, this system works, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't give you any reason to return back to a Pokemon Center. It almost makes Pokemon Centers obsolete. Now, of course, you do need to go there to heal up, but you kind of never visit Pokemon Centers beyond that, I feel like. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because when I played through the game, I barely went to Pokemon Centers. I only really visited a center once during the time I was there in the specific area I was within. And once I was done there, I just left, especially when your Pokemon starter, or your starter Pokemon, Eevee or Pikachu, are broken. Now, when I say broken, I really mean broken. These things are insanely strong. It is ludicrous. They are super, super, super strong. It is beyond insane. So, seriously, if you're gonna play through this game, I recommend feel free to use your starter, but if you want to make it harder for yourself, do not play with your starter. I played with my starter just because I wasn't aware of how strong the starter was going to be, and I just, wanted to play through the game to kind of just have myself ready to do a review of it. But boy, the starter is very strong, guys, like super strong. So it does kind of break up the flow of the game because your starter Pokemon kind of sweeps through everything. I didn't lose a single battle through this playthrough. Now, of course, maybe some people in the comments now will start typing something like, oh, I always beat every single battle. Who cares? My point is, at least in the past when I played Pokemon, no matter if I was young or, in my current age, or even, when I was 15 in my teens or whatnot, I've always, at least lost 1 or 2 or 3 battles across my journey through a Pokemon game. Whatever region it may be, at least one battle I've lost. Unless I'm Nuzlocking, and then I lose and then the whole run's done. But generally on my general playthroughs, I always lose at least one battle. I have not lost a single battle in this game on my way to the Elite Four, and even during the Elite Four, I beat them all, and I did not lose a single battle. Did I lose Pokemon along the way, in those battles? Of course. But did I lose any battle? No. The game is not that hard, especially if you use your starter Pokemon. If you do not use your starter Pokemon, you can make it way easier for yourself. I've got to say, though, grinding in this game is very necessary, as, your Pokemon, really the best way to level them is by catching other Pokemon, which I think is a really kind of weird system. Like, it kind of breaks the game in a way where it just didn't make it fun for me to go and level Pokemon, because I had to have a bunch of money to level my existing Pokemon because I didn't have enough Pokeballs. So I was just sitting there like, okay, what do? I need to level these Pokemon, but I can't do it if I don't have enough money. And the only way to get money is to battle these trainers, but I've already battled these trainers, except there's a lot of issues with kind of like the broken economy in this game, I would say. Now, that's not the only stuff. This game also offers a lot of characters that kind of change things for you, like the nature person, like like the nature lady. You pay her like 10,000, she can change the nature of the next Pokemon you catch, which is really interesting. But that's not the only one, though. There's a lot of aspects to this game that, new features that kind of are really weird, like the stat system where you can kind of max out Pokemon, and it's kind of crazy. I've seen people that use a level 50 Pikachu, or like level 50, I guess, like Sparrow or something, and they defeat a max level, highest level possible Pokemon just because they maxed out that Sparrow, or like they take on with a 50 level Sparrow, they defeat a level 80 Pokemon, right? A Pokemon that's 30 levels higher than it, they defeat it, and why? Because they maxed out the stats on the Sparrow to its fullest capable limit, which makes them super, super strong, and it really does break the game in a lot of regards. But other than that, though, the game runs pretty well. It's not very hard, but it's a fun journey across the board. It's a fun game to play through, but one that I don't think I personally would want to revisit in the future, as I've already played Kanto several times. I feel like I'm kind of, after this, done with it, after I'm done shiny hunting all the Pokemon, which, by the way, shiny hunting can be fun in this game, which is, another thing I want to talk about. Shiny hunting can be fun, but it's also very confusing due to the fact that the catching mechanic is very broken and inconsistent. It causes a lot of trouble for shiny hunters, where you can be spending a lot of time, you find a shiny, and just because the game doesn't work properly, your shiny runs away from you. And yeah, shinies and Pokemon can run away from you in battles, so you can get totally left behind. But that is that, guys. Now, what else do we have to say about this game? Well, I've talked about the catching mechanic. I've talked about the difficulty of the game. I've talked about the story. I've talked about everything. So to put everything in kind of a general perspective, how is this game in post-game? Well, it's really what I expected it to be. very lackluster. Now, you may be asking, okay, but what do you mean by that, right? Doesn't the game have, like, you know, shiny hunting, etc.? Yeah, and that's the problem, right? Shiny hunting is something that is almost in every Pokemon game since, like, what? Since Gen 2? Shiny hunting has always been around. So saying that shiny hunting is, like, you know, a special thing is just really, really backwards because it's always there. So you can't really count it as some sort of new feature or new post-game. But what is there for post-game? Well, you have some story elements. You can go and take on Team Rocket again, Jesse James, and they will give you an outfit. You can go and battle Red. But that's really the extent of it. This is just really small things that don't really change much of the story. Of course, you can catch legendaries, which you can do in any other Pokemon game as well. You can catch the legendary Pokemon like Mewtwo, Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, which you can do in any other Pokemon game as well. But that's not really the main post-game here. The main post-game that they've created for you is the Master Trainers. Now, Master Trainers, I feel like, are cool, but they just don't feel good enough, especially when they're not offering much in the online department. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, basically, the online system for this game is atrocious. Now, you may like it, but I do not like it. Why? Because it makes it impossible for me to trade with the right person or battle with the right person. What I mean by this is that the system they use is basically by making codes. If you want to battle with someone, you make a code, like, for example, Pikachu, Eevee, Pikachu, right? You make that code, and then the person you want to battle has to make that same code. Now, what ends up happening is that since there are millions of people playing the game, a lot of people use the same exact code, and this causes you to end up with tons of different incorrect people, incorrect trades, tons of that sort of stuff. I sat for almost an hour trying to trade with one of my viewers because we couldn't find each other when I was in Discord. We just could not find each other because the game just couldn't connect us to. They kept connecting me to other people and kept connecting him to other people, couldn't match us together. I don't understand why they just didn't give you an option in this game or just make a system where you can just invite a friend and trade with them. Instead, they made this really, really confusing system that makes it very hard to trade with the people you want to trade with and also battle the people you want to battle with. But it does make it easy for people who want to find random stuff. Sure, if you want a random battle, or, you know, one-on-one, you know, random battles or double battles, sure, you can have an easy time with that. But it's really poor offering in online compared to the previous online system. One of the best online systems for a Pokemon game, or even, you know, I guess even X and Y, or even Sun and Moon. Jeez, like even those games had better online offerings. This game really has a poor and awful, really awful online offering. Like, I really don't think it's good. Now, don't assume that that makes this game horrible. It just does make that part of the game really bad. I dislike that part of the game, but I think the general game itself, the gameplay, the journey, whatnot, that is fun. Now, what are my biggest issues? Well, I've already talked about some of them. I've talked about now the post-game, which I think is a bit lackluster, it lacks in a lot of areas. The online is not the best. The catching mechanic is a little bit broken. There's a lack of other Pokemon than just Kanto ones. Those are my 4 main complaints. Those are the 4 main ones. But what are some of the good things? Well, it's a fun journey. The music is nice, really, really nice. It's the Kanto music. Though sometimes I wish they would change the battle music because it keeps being the same one all over again, and it just keeps looping, looping, looping. There's no variety in it. But that's also generally fine, though the music is nice. What else? The graphics look really vibrant and nice. I freaking love them. It really is a vibrant feeling from it, though I wish they would move away from this whole grid-based kind of system they have in the Pokemon games. It really doesn't, you know, it doesn't like flow that well anymore. I feel like they should really move away from that because a lot of other games have also moved away from that kind of grid-based map making and whatnot. So they should move away from that. But other than that, though, guys, should you buy this game? Well, like I said in the start, if you're looking for a Pokemon journey that is simply just, you know, just Kanto with Pokemon Go mechanics and just a nice, vibrant journey, then this is the game for you. But if you're looking for a brand new journey, something new, something fresh, this game will not really offer exactly that to you. The game sure can be fun with the catching mechanic, and it can offer something new in that regard, but once you've done it a few times, the novelty value of it really drops off, and you kind of get a little bit tired of it. Now, initially, when you play the game, yes, you're excited to be playing your first Pokemon game on a console and whatnot, but after a while, it really does start to wear off, and you kind of lose that hype for it, and it kind of starts getting, you know, less and less interesting and less fun. And you'll notice it as you start playing. I've started noticing it where it's starting to get more and more boring now to keep throwing the Pokeballs after throwing almost at least 1,000 Pokeballs at this point, I feel like. So yeah, just so you guys know, the game, I feel like, is not horrible, but it's not great either. It's a good game. Okay, it's not a bad game, but it's not a perfect game. It's not a great game, but it's not a horrible game. It's a good game. It's a game that offers a lot in regards to the Kanto journey, but doesn't offer a lot in terms of new stuff. The only really new things in this game are honestly the catching mechanics. That is the only really new thing in this game. Everything else is pretty much the same. I mean, if you want to count the Kanto, the Master Trainers, sure, you can count them as new, but other than that, the only really new mechanic in this game that kind of gives you a new feeling to it, and it kind of changes the journey a slight bit, is the catching mechanic. And that's kind of the biggest thing that's touted here. But due to the inconsistencies that I have personally had, now I'm not saying that everybody has them, but some people do have them, the inconsistencies when throwing really do make this game hard for me to 100% recommend and give a super high rating to. Do I think it's still a good game? Yes. Do I think it's a perfect game? No. So what's my rating for this game? I give it a 6 out of 10. I've said this several times before, just because it's a 6 out of 10 does not mean it's bad. If this was a bad game, I'd give it a 3 or a 4. Every time a game is under 5 for me, that's when I think it's horrible. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire is a 6 out of 10 game in my eyes, even though I genuinely love Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, but that game in my eyes is a 6 out of 10 due to the lack of the Battle Frontier and some other stuff. I mean, if that game had a Battle Frontier, it'd be a freaking 8, but it was lacking that and some other stuff, and that's why it just ends up being a 6 as well. So, do I think this game that, do I think Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee is bad? No. Do I think you should buy it? Definitely if you're looking for a Kanto revisit, if you love Kanto. But if you're looking for a new journey, new region, new things to do, new Pokemon to catch, your Pokemon that you love, like from Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, then this is not the game for you. Either way, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like down below. I hope you guys, want to see more stuff like this. And thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.